Howdy do y'all, this is John, and welcome back to my second annual Horror-thon. Today, we're talking about Van Helsing, a movie released back in 2004. And in Van Helsing, it deals with the title character who goes off to Transylvania to fight Dracula and stop him from killing this whole family. I grew up with this movie. It's one of the first horror movies I remember watching back when I was like 6 or 7. At the time, me seeing newer horror movies were not that common. They were pretty much the old Universal monster movies from back in the 30s and 40s. Up until Van Helsing, the only newer horror movies I remember watching at the time were the newer Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser, which coincidentally was made by the same guy as Van Helsing. And to basically sum up my thoughts on Van Helsing before I get into my review, this is a guilty pleasure, okay? I really enjoyed this movie, but I recognize the fact that it's not good. To get things started, the only thing that really impressed me in my newest viewing of it is only really because Hollywood doesn't do this kind of stuff anymore. The movie recognizes the religious origins of Dracula, of the character of Dracula, because Bram Stoker, the creator of Dracula, was a very religious guy. He was a Catholic. And religion is all over the place in Dracula. I've been reading it lately, finally, and religion's all over the place. Hollywood doesn't do this anymore. It completely ignores religion altogether. Even though the majority of people in this country are very religious, they ignore this. And I guarantee you, if this was made today, the religious recognition of Dracula's origin would be very much gone. It'd be ignored completely. But because this movie was made 17 years ago, Hollywood was different back then. The entertainment industry was different back then. Now, it's not preachy or anything like that. The religious recognition is very subtle. And you don't have to be religious to enjoy this film. Now, there is some stuff about this movie that's genuinely good. I think the set design and the costumes are very on the spot. They're very good, especially the outfits everyone wears. And I think Alan Silvestri did a very good job with the music. When it comes to the acting, Hugh Jackman is always good. But everyone else, half of the actors overact, especially Kate Beckinsale and the guy that got playing Dracula. He overacted really badly. The dialogue is also really bad. People in this movie have a habit of talking when it's not necessary. There's literally this showdown between Kate and this vampire who's one of Dracula's brides. And honestly, it did not need dialogue, but there's an exchange between them. And it's really badly written dialogue. The fights are really good, though. They actually did some stuff that, we're only seeing being commonplace nowadays in movies. At the time, it was very common for filmmakers to put 10 shots in an action sequence when you only really need one. Van Helsing only used one. I'm not kidding. They only used one when at the time everyone used 10. You just get these long tracking shots of people fighting, of people shooting each other, of creatures like trying to tear each other apart. This was all stuff that wasn't common at the time, that we're only now seeing get done a lot today. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some cheesy parts, but it has to do with badly aged special effects or just some off choreography. But for the most part, these fights have aged very well. Better than most action, horror, or action movies at the time. Guys, Van Helsing, while it's technically not a good movie, and I'll acknowledge that this is a guilty pleasure, partially for nostalgia reasons. I just cannot hate this movie at all. I grew up with it. I know some stuff I grew up with I don't like anymore, but I just cannot dislike this movie at all. If you want to get technical, this movie's like a 3, but for nostalgia's sake, it's like an 8. I just really enjoyed this movie despite the poor quality of it. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please also subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as always, please remember to put that ski